Multi-use building on the site, right? They first of all had to remove a pre-existing structure, and it was well known in the archaeological community that beneath that building there was likely to be some kind of archaeological material. How much, we didn't know until that building was removed. It very quickly became clear that the depth and the horizontal extent and the significance of the archaeological site there was more. To put that in context, this site is older than the pyramids in Egypt. The site is older, or as old, as some of the very first cities ever built in Mesopotamia. And yet, very little is known, comparatively, about these people who built this site, who lived there hundreds and thousands of years ago, precisely because there hasn't been enough systematic scientific archaeological work done.
The evidence of the mud flood can be found everywhere, hidden in plain sight. And the beautiful thing is, as more people are waking up to the fable of history we've been given, more and more evidence is being found, as those with open eyes can easily see through the lies. So take a look for yourself. Your neighborhood and your city, you never know what's buried beneath your feet. They told us to reject the evidence of our eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Research the mud flood and fall of Tartaria. Dig up our true past. Question everything, friends. Until next time. Let's stop at New York and have a nice slice of
pizza, mud flood pizza.
Right adjacent to.
Oh, look at this. The mud flood castle. Oh, look at that. Wow.
That's right, after a slice of mud flood pizza and a visit to a mud flood castle in New York, take a trip to the old world and you'll find even further evidence of this post-apocalyptic time we live in. Look around your streets. You'll never know what you'll find. Right behind an idle trash can, right at the side of the road, the evidence of the mud flood can be found nearly everywhere. You just have to open up your eyes. Question everything, friends. Until next time. This is what the effects of mud can do in a modern setting, in merely just a few moments' time. And mere moments is all it takes for the wave of mud to cover up anything in its path in meters of dirt. Now just imagine such a scene playing out in a much larger scale. That is what the mud flood was, just a few short hundred years ago. The old saying is absolutely true. History does repeat itself. It's happened several times before, and it will happen again. The unusual weather patterns all over this world signify that that time is closer than we think. Question everything, friends. Until next time. Peru, where ongoing reports of heavy rainfall and floods and mudslides are being reported. As heavy rains continue to pelt the area late into Friday evening, the mudslides have since continued. And I'll keep you posted as I find out more, as these intense floodings of mud seem to be becoming a more continued occurrence.
The Tartaria mud flood theory is a controversial hypothesis that suggests a catastrophic event took place in the 18th or 19th century, resulting in a massive flood of mud that covered entire cities and wiped out entire civilizations. According to this theory, the civilization of Tartary, which was once a powerful empire that covered a large part of the Eurasian continent, was destroyed by this event, and its existence was deliberately erased from history by the ruling elite. One of the main pieces of evidence cited by proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory is the presence of mysterious buildings and structures in various parts of the world that seem to be older than the officially recognized timeline of human history. These structures, known as megaliths, are often made of large stone blocks that would have been impossible to move and erect using the technology available at the time they were supposedly built. Another piece of evidence cited by proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory is the strange architectural features found in many old buildings in Europe and elsewhere. These features, such as strange windows and doorways, seem to have no practical purpose and are unlike anything found in modern architecture. Proponents of the theory argue that these features are remnants of an older civilization that was destroyed by the mud flood. There are also claims that the Tartaria mud flood theory is supported by geological evidence. Some researchers have pointed to the presence of sedimentary layers in certain regions of the world that seem to indicate a massive flood event took place at some point in the past. Other researchers have claimed that the soil samples from various parts of the world contain high levels of unusual substances, such as iridium, that are typically associated with meteor impacts or other catastrophic events. Proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory argue that the mainstream scientific community has ignored or deliberately suppressed this evidence in order to maintain the status quo and avoid acknowledging the possibility that there may have been an advanced civilization that was wiped out by a natural disaster. They also argue that the ruling elite have deliberately erased the memory of Tartary from history in order to maintain their own power and control over the population.